I am Johnell. This guy over here is Matt Price, Cash Walk-In. And this is Heat Check powered by Designated Report. My guy, how are you feeling today? How was
I
Christmas? How was the
Christmas
family?
was great. Christmas was great. It was a fun day of games like we expected. Not it didn't go how we expected,
This is
but
true.
you know what I mean. The Warriors showed up. Memphis did it. There was a
Yep.
whole lot of things going on. Yeah, and the Nuggets really put a statement game together there. The Knicks blew it, and it was
Yeah.
just a mess all day.
Yeah,
But
we
it was
gotta
good with the family, and everything was great.
I'm glad, man. I'm glad to hear that.
How
Same
about
over
you?
here. Same over here, man. Christmas is a lot of running around usually. Got to make sure I see all the family, but everybody's good, everybody's healthy.
Word.
Gifts, food, drinks. It was a good time. So I can't complain a
It
bit,
works.
man. Yeah,
It works.
exactly. Exactly. So you brought up the Knicks, and I got to bring up the Knicks because
Mm.
last week we finally made time to talk about your team and you bigged them up.
Finally,
They had won 8 in a row. They were rolling.
loving it.
The Knicks stink, bro. Finally,
Nah,
finally, I took time. I took time out of my life. I took time away from my family on Christmas Day to sit down and watch the New York Knicks. And they were up late against the Sixers, and they blew it. Then I'm watching them last night. They got Luka and the Mavs on the ropes. They're up 9 with under a minute left. You'll go to OT. Okay. You lose. That they've lost 4 in a row since last week. Since the last time we talked about the
right.
Knicks. They stink, bro. I'm sorry. Your
That's not
team
true.
stinks.
That's not true. Okay, so to start, the team they don't stink because they won 8 in a row. So that doesn't that's something that doesn't happen all the time. Only good teams can win 8 in a row. They lost losing 4 in a row. Every team in the league, even good teams, that happens too. You have stretches like this. That's fine, right? It's the way that it's happening, and this is where I'm with you. Like they stink in situations. You know what I'm saying? Those closing moments, they don't have a guy. They have a guy who's
Yes.
pretending to be the guy. Julius Randle didn't want no part of that of that down the stretch those games. Luka
Yep.
wants the ball. He wants that moment. He was like salivating. You could see him like every
Yes.
possession. Luka's coming up the court. He's setting everything up. He's moving guys, waving guys out of the way. Julius Randle don't have that in him, yo. It's like yo. And the thing is, I said it on Twitter. He played 47 minutes and 27 seconds of outstanding basketball, only to just fall apart in those last 30, that last minute. Let's say 47 minutes. The whole
Yeah.
team.
Yeah.
Then at that moment, you need the other 4 guys on the court, and this is why you just need one superstar to really, really
Absolutely.
be competitive. They need to look at that one guy. Yo, Christian Wood, Spencer Dinwiddie, Tim Hardaway Jr. These guys playing trash all game. But when it came down to winning time and Luka started cooking it up in the fourth quarter, you get a little run going.
Yep.
Those guys look at him and they really believe that they can win. You need that. I don't think that those other 4 guys look at Julius Randle that way. I think that they're like, well, I got to step up because who's going to step up? I think that if Brunson was out there, they do look at him that way and expect
I
him to
agree with
come
that.
through in that moment. But you need that. So the Knicks don't stink as a team. They got good pieces. If you let's keep our respectability as a basketball program and acknowledge that they are a good team. They are good basketball. It's the way that they're losing. They stink in certain scenarios, particularly down the stretch because of the absence of a superstar.
I just need you to apologize to me because I took time to watch your team and they stunk it up.
They didn't stick it up. They stuck up the last quarter. When did you start watching the fourth quarter? I was wondering. I was like, did he literally not watch the whole game where they were just dominating these dudes? Yo, what happened is that the fourth quarter, it came down to it. Things got tight. The defense, credit to Doc, he raised the defensive pressure. Everybody hits the Knicks with a zone to test to see if they can actually really shoot threes
Yeah.
at that level. They started missing threes. They had these lapses in points and scoring. Then you got Harden on the other side. He starts cooking. Every time he comes to Madison Square Garden, James Harden, he puts together some really nice games for them. Even
Always.
going back to Houston, And then Joel Embiid, who is in the league? And I forget Trey. Who in the league is more built to play in that place? Like hero or
Oh my
villain?
gosh.
Like he's
Yes.
ready for it all. He
Always.
the Bulls come. He's like, yeah.
Yep.
If they
He
were
loves
cheering
it.
for him, he would love it. Like
He
he
loves it.
is built to play in that place. Joel Embiid took over the game, and that's the difference. If you just got one guy to stop the bleeding there, it's a different basketball game. They win. So, like I said, they out of those 8 wins that they had stretches. This is a stat that I put on Twitter. I had to tell everybody about this because it was just crazy to me that this happened. And they had 5 games in that 8 game stretch where they held their opponents under 100 points. Right,
Mm-hmm.
5 teams, and of those 5, 3 of those were winning teams. So then fast forward, they bring in Siakam. He has 44 or 54. So you give up a 50-point game to him and lose it, in crunch time. You have the Bulls come in, a team you've already beaten twice in their building. They come into your building. You give up 35 to Levine, 25 to DeRozan, including a game winner because you couldn't make free throws to close them out. Crunch time again.
Yep.
Then fast forward again. Now you're dealing with the Joel Embiid thing on Christmas. They melt down in the fourth quarter because they got nowhere to go for offense. And again, they're missing free throws, falling apart in the fourth quarter. And then last night, 60, 21, and 10. Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
So, quick answer, just yes or no. Do the Knicks turn it around? I know
Yes.
Jalen Brunson was out. I know that
RJ Barrett was out, played 2 minutes. He was out in the first minute of the game.
I know. I mean, you're absolutely right in what you're saying in that they have played very well for 46 minutes the last 4 nights, or the last 4 games. So, are these things correctable?
I think these things are correctable, but at the end of the day, you need a guy who can execute it. In the NBA, we know, you and I both, everybody who listens to this show, they know that winning time in the NBA is that final 5 minutes,
Absolutely.
If you don't have a guy who could really just through double teams, through tight pressure defense, contested shots, you need a guy who makes that. Those are winners. The Warriors, there's no mistake that the Warriors, they get Steph back and then they're back in the finals. They get their guy because they have players who play at high level. They perform late in the games at a high level. Tatum, these guys, the Celtics, all those guys, tough shot makers. Tatum, Jaylen Brown. That is what you need. We have Julius Randle, but he is not that guy. Something happens to him late in basketball games. I don't know if it's the speed, the pressure. From a basketball standpoint, I don't know what happens to him late in basketball games where he just falls apart. So it is correctable. Yes, but you need a guy to execute that. I don't know who on this team it is.
So you think it's personnel? You think it's the actual players? It's not a coaching issue. It's you need a guy.
I think that is exactly what it is. You need a guy. At that point, they just needed somebody to stop the bleeding. You need Jalen Brunson to call a play and get a set offense. The set for like 4 or 5 straight possessions down the stretch was Julius Randle get into his spot on the floor, which is the right corner, because he likes that step back 3 so with his left elbow inside because he's a lefty. Yeah. Every time he's clearing guys out and they're going ISO, he either wants to do a tough contested shot or he wants to do take a double and try to pass out of it or make the right read. You need a guy to run a set. This team doesn't have a superstar, and I'm tired of them pretending that they do. And asking a guy who's not that to do superstar things. He's not that. Julius Randle's a good basketball player, but he's not your guy you go to in closing moments. Period. End of story.
So am I getting an apology or not?
Listen, I'm not sorry that you watched in one of the 5 games on Christmas. You're a basketball fan. That was your decision. You're a grown man. I don't have to apologize to you. They need to apologize to me.
Fair enough.
I sent my son out of the room because I was distraught. I told my girl, I was like, take him.
They definitely got to apologize.
I'm about to start screaming. And I don't want to scare him. Man, I've been back and forth on whether to even make him a Knicks fan anymore. Because do I love my son if I want to put him through this type of stuff? Like
that's a very good question, and you've definitely got a decision to make on that for
I
sure.
got decisions, man.
You mentioned Luka's performance last night, 60, 21, and 10, unfortunately
Oh,
against your squad.
yeah.
But all-time performance. It's only the second 60-point triple-double of all time. The other was James Harden.
James Harden, right?
The first ever 60, 20, 10 triple-double.
Yes.
The 60 points, that's Luka's career high. It's also a franchise record in points.
Obviously.
I mean, not obviously. Dirk could have done it.
I don't think Dirk. I think the most he scored ever was like a 54.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, where does this rank amongst all-time regular season performances?
Regular season. Okay.
Yeah.
I had to make sure I read it right when I saw it in the notes. Okay. So as far as regular season, I'm gonna take it back. So it's a top 3 without question, only because in the scope of it all, there's something that happened that never happened before. The
Sure.
60, 20, 10 part of it. So that's why I put it immediately. It's definitely a top 5. I would put it in the top 3. My other two, and I think it's somewhere in between these two, is like, I look at that Kobe 81-point game because they needed every single basket.
They
And
sure did.
We know a lot about that game, and because we heard from Jalen Rose intimate details, we heard from Kobe intimate deep, and then you look at the film on it, and it's not like he's like meticulously breaking them down. He's shooting mid-range jumpers.
Yep.
He's shooting bank shots. He's getting to the line making free throws. Like it was death by 1,000 cuts for the Raptors. Who it was a close game. It was within like a couple baskets.
Yeah,
the entire time.
They needed all.
So
80
that's
points.
what I'm saying. Yeah, the final score was 122 to 104. But like you look at it, Kobe that night he was 28 for 46. So I put that up there. Like he really just dominated the game, especially the third quarter, where I think he had like 32 of the 80 points were in the third, and he had like 30 of the team's 42 points in the third. That's crazy. My other one, unfortunately, again, was against the Knicks, and I remember this one when I was the youngest. So when I was a younger kid, just started to be a Knicks fan. When Jordan came back from baseball and came to the Garden for the first time, the double nickel game, 55 points on 55% shooting.
Yep.
That to me was just like it was unbelievable. And again, it was a regular season game that they needed every single one of those baskets, and the Knicks kept responding. Ewing had 36 that night. Jordan was 21 of 37, 10 of 11 from the line, and they won the game by 2 points. And, the Knicks were 44-24 that year, and the Bulls were 30. Or at that point, the Bulls were 37 and 33, and Jordan had just gotten back. So they were like fighting to get into the playoffs, and they needed that game against, at the time the Knicks were like the first or second seed. So to me, that Luka thing, it's because it's so early in the season still. Like, yes, it was a crazy game. You saw a bunch of stuff that we haven't seen before.
Yeah, it was crazy. Yeah,
exactly. But that's the reason I put that way. I will put it between those three. I will put it like third. But only reason because, like I said, we just talked about before all the things the Knicks did to help put him in that position. My man was about to have a 50-point game loss. If he was 30 seconds away from that, where he had 40 something like that or 50 something already with 30 seconds left, and he almost lost. So that's the only reason. Like he was very close to that. It wouldn't have been the front page story that it was if they don't win that game.
Absolutely. So I'm with you on those. There were a couple other ones that I thought of. Again, I think there's a lot of things that play into it. Like you said, kind of where I know we specified regular season, but it could be a regular season game late in the season that has playoff implications and things like that, right? So I definitely took into account what you said about Luka's 60, 20, 10, and that we've never seen that before. You know what I'm saying? So the one that I'm going to go with is David Robinson. His
70.
34, 10, 10, and 10. His quadruple double.
The blocks.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, man. Because
10 blocks.
Bro, I truly feel like people don't remember how dominant David Robinson was.
Yo,
And
for
I
real.
know Hakeem gets a lot of love as being like really one of the first big men who had skill. Like David Robinson, he's a few years younger. Like he was right with
He was
there
a
with him.
stretch big. He was the first
Yes,
stretch big. He shot threes. People don't realize that. Like he was a big who shot threes. He
yes,
consistently shot 18 footers from the top of the key.
yep,
He was like a nightmare to guard for those old school bigs that they were never out there.
yep.
Nobody else played out there. Like
Yeah,
he was the
man.
only one.
So I'm gonna go with David Robinson. I don't know. So there's definitely a recency bias with Luka, and
Yeah,
the fact that it just happened and it's
right,
something we've never seen. And I think there's a kind of like an innocent charm to Luka. Like,
right.
he, so it's definitely up there. It's probably in my top 5 someplace if I really thought about it. Um, but I think the David Robinson quadruple double is right up there with it because it's probably something we're not going to see again.
Yeah. What makes it even more impressive though for Luca, man, 21 for 31 from
Yeah.
the field.
Yep.
67%. Like honestly, unbelievable. And then from the free throw line, he was 16 to 22. So
Yep.
like it just you get the opportunities to score at the line. That's how a lot of people get those boosted points. He just was just doing it everywhere, everywhere. To have that kind of a stat line, you have to be everywhere, and he was everywhere. Every rebound,
Yep.
every setup pass, everything.
I
I
had
don't
to
even
go
know. He
back.
shot that free throw, and then all of a sudden he had the ball again. Like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah. I mean,
crazy.
there's obviously a certain amount of luck that goes into it. I mean, these are the best players in the world. It's like, why aren't you guys scoring 60 more often? Like, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? So there's a certain amount of luck that goes into it. But I went back and watched the highlights today actually of the game, and everybody talks about Luka's pace, his pace.
yep.
And
That's all
you
they talk
saw
about.
you saw it on display last night where at no point did he ever look out of control. Never
Never,
once did it look like he was pressing. Like,
never.
again, they were down 9 with less than a minute left. And even watching the highlights, after knowing the outcome, after knowing how everything happened, it's like, does this really, like, did this really
Yeah,
happen?
he really did that. He really did that. Like yo, I sat. It's weird. I was sitting in my room right here where I am, right, sitting watching it, and when he got that put back off the free throw, I sat still. I didn't scream. I didn't do nothing. Like it was like I knew it was coming.
Yeah.
I felt something was about to happen. I was like, there's no way that he just misses this, and they grab the rebound, and the game is over. There's no way.
Yeah.
And then when it went to overtime, I said there's no way they win this game.
Yeah.
And
There was no chance.
they were done. They were done. It's hard to bounce back from that type of a lapse in everything that they
Yeah.
had. And I want to just real quick to close. You guys know I've been singing his praises all season. Games like this are why I say even at 19 and 16, having his team there, Luka Doncic is the MVP.
Fair enough.
They don't even sniff a win last night without him. He literally scored half their points.
Yeah.
They don't come anywhere in the vicinity of a win. They lose that game by 40.
So
40.
you got Luka up over Jason Tatum, up over
Everyone.
Giannis, everybody.
Over everyone. That
Okay.
might be recency bias, but I'm right. I don't. You can't convince me otherwise. Yo,
Yeah.
who is more valuable to the team? This team would be a 4-win team without him. How many nights
Yep.
has he done? Maybe not exactly what he did last night, but how many nights has he done something like this where he
Yep.
just wins games for them by himself? Like, yes, then when he hit a three, Christian would hit a three. Other than that, the last 3 minutes of the game was all Luka. He did it
Yep.
himself.
Yep.
Whether it was a setup, free throw, or score himself. Unbelievable.
Fair enough. And I truly don't think, like, you've got a very strong argument about Luka. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's hard to argue against what you're saying right now. Luka MVP.
You saw it. We saw it with our own 2 eyes. He just
Man.
took over. He just took. I'm laughing, but it's sadness.
You just gotta laugh through the pain, bro.
This is the emotions. That's what I've been telling everybody. I said right after the game, like I don't know what I'm even feeling because I was sitting here laughing, like, yeah, he's good. But then I'm like, dang, he's good.
Y'all will bounce back, man. We're not too worried about it.
Hey, got Spurs, Rockets. They're tanking. Let's get a couple in a row. Get back on the roll again.
There you go. So let's jump back to Christmas Day really quickly.
Yeah.
We briefly touched on the Warriors taking care of business against Memphis on Christmas Day. Also, in an interview recently, Ja Morant, he was asked which team he fears. What team does he not want to see? And he said Boston. And
I'm so happy we're talking about this.
He said Boston. And the follow-up question was...
Make sure you get this quite right. Make sure you get this quote right.
The follow-up question was, nobody in the West? And he says no. And so there's a certain...
I got the West. He said, I got the
confidence.
West.
Yes, there's a certain confidence that he feels, obviously, that his team is a contender. They're third in the West right now. He doesn't see anybody in the West as a contender. He's only worried about Boston, who he would potentially see in the finals.
Right.
Fast forward a bit, or rewind a bit. The Grizzlies are talking about dynasties. They already don't like the Golden State Warriors. They're chippy over the years. And then they go out and get run out the gym. How do you
run out the gym?
What do we think about the Grizzlies? Like, are they for real? Again, they're third in the West right now. But we saw them get dog walked on Christmas Day, and then they go out and lose to Phoenix a couple nights later,
a couple days later, yeah,
without Devin Booker, and on Christmas Day without Steph Curry. Are they legitimate, or are they just all bark?
And for both of these games, they were fully healthy. Desmond Bane is back.
Yes.
So that was an interesting part of this, right? They were playing very well without him. And then he's kind of trying to work his way back into the lineup, and he has not shot well. He was 0 for 7 on Christmas. 2 for 13 from the field. He had 9 points. And he was not good either against Phoenix. But I think that's a big part of it. So do I think the team – let me answer your question. Do I think this team is legit? I do think that they're a legit finals contender.
Okay.
But I do think that they need to worry a little bit more about everything that's right in front of them right now. Because they're getting a little ahead of themselves as far, I don't think they're that good where they can just write themselves into the finals. I don't think that they're there. Ja Morant's playing great basketball, but the efficiency has been different this year than it has been in years past, like especially last year. Like I said, Christmas Day, he had 36 points, 7 rebounds, and 8 assists. But 2 of 10 from the 3-point line. That's awful. And then 15 to 29, he's about 50. He's about under 50 or 50 something percent from the field. Like that's not bad, but he's just everybody else on the team. He's got a lot of usage, very high usage, and everybody else on the team is sitting low double figures or less than 10 points.
Sure.
So I think that he's dominating the ball a little too much, and guys are feeling froze out. And then it gets to these moments in the game where he needs help because he's not a big guy, and these guys are ice cold. Dylan Brooks not making shots. He was 1 of 6 that day. Jaren Jackson, I think he's playing a little bit too far outside. He only had 2 rebounds. That's not going to work from your starting power forward. 2 rebounds in 21 minutes. That's not good. They got to get contributions from other places. They have depth on the bench. So I think that like I said, they're a finals contender, but they got to figure their stuff out in the immediate future before they start trying to write themselves in the finals, or else they're going to get bounced.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that, and it's one of they're just a frustrating team to me because I'm a fan of greatness, and I love players and teams that can talk junk and back it up. So I love the Floyd Mayweathers. I love the LeBrons, the Curry. I love to see greatness. I love to see great play.
Sure.
But you've got to be able to back it up. And to me, them going out on Christmas Day, primetime game, all eyes on you, and you again just completely lay an egg without
Yeah,
their best
they did
player
not play good at all. Yeah.
at all. Jordan
They're ice
Poole
cold.
was out of the game. Steph Curry didn't play, obviously. And then again, to go to Phoenix and lose to a team that doesn't have Devin Booker, their best player, like those are the games that I expect a great team to win. Both of those games, quite frankly, and if at the very least, split them. So the fact that they're talking championship, they're talking dynasty. Again, they're a good team. I just don't know if they're there mentally. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like they're not battle tested.
Point,
They haven't been through the ups and downs of success, like what it takes to be successful in the NBA and in anything professionally, you know? So
but they talk as if they were there, though. That's what's unique about this situation. They're like the kid who be talking mad junk but can't fight.
Yes, you know? Exactly.
And then when somebody actually comes and step up to want to fight, they're like, "Oh yeah, you know."
Yeah.
But that's what I'm seeing right now.
So on Twitter, NBA Twitter, you know, Christmas night. I know a lot of people were talking about how the Grizzlies were humbled, and I just don't know if they have that. Like, I don't think a loss like that is what's going to humble them. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think as good as they are, they're not great, but as good as they are, it's going to take them losing in the playoffs again. Maybe a couple years in a row for them to be like, all right, like we're a good team, we're a solid team, but we definitely do have faults and things that we need to work on. I just don't think 2 games is going to do it. So they're going to be in contention. They're going to be in the playoffs. They're going to give whoever they play a run for their money. First round, second round, whatever it may be. I don't think they're finals. Like, I don't see them in the finals, not this year anyway.
I feel it's unique that you said that too, because I agree with that point that you made about them not being mentally there, because look at the 2 teams that they just lost to. You know, after they make those type of or after John makes those kind of comments, you go up against a team that's got Draymond on them. This, you know, he hears that. He's in the media himself. He got shows like he heard that. And he knows. And then what happens the next night? You go up against Chris Paul and these guys. They're thinking, you know, oh, you don't have to worry about the West? Like, these are, you know, experienced veterans who have been playing this game for a long time. Like, they know how to get their team ready for a night, you know, when you come into town.
Exactly.
So now you put a target on yourself by saying that, you're not worried about these guys. You better worry about them. Now you got to go through them to get to Boston.
Exactly. And that's the thing. Like, I think Ja feeds off of his confidence. I don't think it's him being egotistical or anything like that. Like, I truly believe that he believes that they're a finals contender. You know what I'm saying?
That's great.
So, like,
just keep it to yourself.
Yeah, like, I don't want to take that away.
Keep that in the facility, the team facility.
Yeah. I just don't want him. You know, I don't want it to sound like I'm sitting here like, oh, I hate that he said. Like, nah, it's fine that he said it, but you've got to go out and perform is really all that I'm getting at. Like, you can't make those comments and then get washed the next 2 nights.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
So another team that's been hot, and we mentioned it actually a few weeks ago, that the Brooklyn Nets were trending upwards. They were trending in the right direction.
I had a feeling.
Ever since that show, early December, they've got 2 games left this month. They're 10-1 in December. They've won 9 in a row, and they won 14 of their last 16. I think back then the discussion was, can they keep this up? And I think we both agreed that they could. They are playing incredible basketball right now. Kyrie looks totally invested. KD is having, statistically, from the mid-range, one of the best seasons ever. He's shooting almost like 60% from the mid-range. Automatic from there. So they've climbed the ranks. They're 3rd in the East right now, right behind the Bucks at 2 and Boston at 1. So I don't think anybody's surprised that they're sitting where they are. I think we're surprised at the route they took and how we got
Yeah,
here. But,
that's all.
but
That's all.
I mean, this team, like, are they going to keep this up? Are they going to absolutely contend when it comes playoff time against some of these top teams in the East?
I think so. They have found contributions. That's where I want to start. First of all, there's some really good wins
Yes.
in here. I'm looking at the schedule, and I'm like, man, they got some good wins in here. Yeah, they got wins over Milwaukee, wins over Cleveland, wins over Golden State when they still had Steph, wins over Toronto, Washington, Indiana, Atlanta. I mean,
One of their, I think
there's
they're
some good.
one. Yeah, I think their one loss in like the last 10 is against Boston.
It was against Boston. That was on December 4th.
Yeah.
That was on December 4th. Yeah, so that was early in the month, and they haven't lost since. And that's it. So I like that. They're getting contributions from a lot of different guys, all right? I like that TJ Warren is back. I forgot about him. I think
Yeah.
that's a piece to answer your question about him, about them and their viability in the playoffs later on in the season. I think that he's an interesting player. There's a lot. I think that he can score the basketball and make tough shots, and that's what you're going to need on that. On that team and on that stage.
Absolutely.
Once again, they're getting contributions from a lot of different places. Royce O'Neal shooting the three really, really well. Then they got all the pieces I think that they need. They might need to get some big man depth. I like Claxton, but I think they might need to get a little bit something. But I like this Watanabe guy. Ben Simmons has been playing a little better. Joe Harris is putting it together. Patty Mills is like a scoring machine. I love him. He don't play any defense, but he's a scoring machine. And they got this kid Sumner too, who's got long arms. He's able to defend.
Yep.
I like the contributions that they're getting from their rotational guys. So I think that they can get there. And they're like I said, they're climbing the ranks. I think that they're working on something now. Kyrie has been playing
Incredible.
he is unguardable.
Yes.
Honestly, the only games that he doesn't have, he's a pencil in 20 points. And the only games he doesn't have 20, he hasn't played or he's just missing shots. It wasn't anything that the defense did to him to make him have a bad game.
Yeah.
He literally just missed shots. Like he's playing great. Kevin's averaging 30 points a game. He's distributing too, making all the right reads, passing out of doubles. They look really good, man. And like I said, it's a shooting drill for him from the mid range right now.
Understatement.
It's like he's getting into the post, he's shimmy shake, turn around over you, and that's it. Like it is a practice. Yeah, he's over you. Even when he releases, the tallest man can contest that.
Yeah.
I don't care. Ball can get his hand on that.
And again, it's one of those things like I'm glad to see the Nets playing well. Like I'm
back to basketball.
Yeah, like I was sick of all the other stuff with the Nets. You know what I'm saying? And you put it perfectly. We're back to basketball with them. And it'd be one thing if they were playing basketball and they just weren't playing well. But it was just so much drama swirling around the team, and it took a toll on the team. They were all
like, I'm tired of James Harden got out of town because of all this mess.
Exactly.
He was like, I just gotta go. Like he's like, they don't care about basketball here. Like I'm gonna get out of here.
Speaking of James Harden, because we only got a couple more minutes left. There's rumors that he might be going back to Houston. I know he came out and said, I'm in Philly now. I'm not worried about next season or anything like that. 2 questions. Does Houston want James Harden, first and foremost? Right. And then secondly, where did this come from?
I don't know what prompted that response. Like it was just something I saw on Twitter. But they don't want him, especially in the Wembanyama sweepstakes right now. Like
Yeah.
James Harden brings you wins. They have a great young backcourt, very exciting young backcourt. And then they just drafted two other rookies that they're going to build with, in Jabari Smith and Tari Eason. Like they don't need James Harden, but they don't want him back there.
I
They
agree.
are developing slowly and conventionally through the draft with
As
all the draft picks that they acquired
yeah,
from trading James Harden. So it's fun. It's
bro,
fun.
it was such a
I
strange
don't
story, man.
weird. I don't understand where that came from. They don't. You know what I thought about? I said they probably have better gentlemen's clubs in Houston than they do in Philadelphia. And
I
James
mean,
Harden frequents those establishments with good friend Lil Baby.
you're not wrong about any of that stuff. I mean, but at the same time, James Harden, I mean, he could jump on a plane and fly out to Houston and visit his favorite
He didn't
his
take
favorite
that
club.
big of a pay cut in the offseason. He was making like 35 million still or something like that. That's what was wild. He took a pay cut, he's still making 35 million.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. Yeah. No, just you mentioned them and I don't know, it was just such a weird story.
Weird.
Because the way that it was framed was that James Harden like decided that he might go back to Houston.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't think Houston wants you, bro. Like you're
right. Houston is done with you.
Yeah.
Unless 2016 James Harden is coming back, we don't want you.
And even then, I don't know if they want him with what they're trying to build right now. I don't know if James Harden fits into that equation.
Absolutely not. You do not want Jalen Green and Kevin Porter Jr. and all your young new toys standing around watching James Harden dribble the air out of the basketball for 17 seconds. That is not conducive to winning basketball.
Exactly.
We don't want that right now. Chill. I'm going to get a better look at them in the next couple of days, though, as the Knicks have them this weekend.
Yes.
I believe on New Year's Eve.
Are those, just real quick, do you have any games that you're excited for over the next week?
I can't even focus on basketball right now. I just have to see a Knicks win before anything happens. That's the only basketball I can think about right now. Knicks Spurs tomorrow. Get a win so I can end my year properly and feel good about myself. That's what I want.
Fair enough, man.
Yes, that's all. I only want Knicks wins. That's it. You don't have to watch it, America, but I'm going to.
I'm not going to watch
it. Yeah. once they get that win, everything will be better and we'll be all right.
All right, man. This is our last show until the new year. So
yes. Happy New Year, everybody.
Yes, wishing everybody a happy and healthy new year. We'll be back in 2023 with some more heat checks, some more hot takes. Hopefully the Knicks can bounce back and our guy Cash is in a good mood. Good mood, good vibes. We need positive affirmations moving forward in 2023.
We'll see what happens next week, America. We'll see what happens next week. Last week I was on cloud 11, and now I'm somewhere beneath the earth.
We'll bounce back.
I'm not dead yet. Not dead yet.
Yeah, all right, man. Bro.
Yo, Happy New Year, bro. I'll catch up with you later.
Yes, sir. Happy New Year.